Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a trauma ICU nurse. If you're watching this, you might already know, but I recorded an interview with my friend Amy for the Sharp End. In the interview, we talk a little bit about what I like to carry in my first aid kit, just given having been in an accident and what I do for work. So these are just things that I personally like to carry with me that I wouldn't want to be without in an emergency, while also not overloading myself with weight and unnecessary items. And I want to preface this by saying that I'm not speaking in any sort of professional capacity here. I am not endorsing any of these products and I am not sponsored by anyone. This is just what I have found through my own lived experiences that works and can be used for multiple purposes in the event of an emergency. I would definitely recommend that anyone who spends a lot of time outdoors and in the backcountry take a wilderness first aid course, at the very least a basic first aid and CPR course, so that you know what to do in the event of an emergency. And this kit is as like the part of my 10 essentials, so I always carry those with me whenever I go out. I always carry a Garmin now, and for most outings, I'll bring some sort of radio, like a walkie-talkie or a BCA radio. And so the first few items here are going to be things that don't live in my first aid bag, but that I do consider part of my first aid kit. The first is a multi-tool. This is my knife. This is the Leatherman Skeletal. It's got a knife with a straight and serrated edge at the bottom, so you can use it to cut rope. It's got a screwdriver, which is great if you need to like take apart someone's ski boot because they broke their leg and you need to assess their foot or whatever. Pliers, wire cutters, anything that you would really need for an emergency, multi-purpose. And this is instead of scissors in my first aid kit. I don't carry scissors with me. I can cut anything that I need to with just this knife. Next, and we talked a little bit about this in the interview, is I carry a pair of ski straps with me. These are great. You can use these to fix any gear that might break. You can use a pair of these with some trekking poles to make a splint, so I don't carry a splint if someone's got a broken arm or broken leg. I use them to add a little bit of compression to a bleed on my arm when I had my accident. So just nice multi-purpose. And then this is my pill holder. It's just a waterproof days of the week holder, and there are all different screw top compartments here, and I just labeled over top what I put in each little compartment. So I would recommend having Advil and or Tylenol, Benadryl, something for nausea like meclizine or Dramamine, Imodium, and aspirin. If someone's having a heart attack, you can give them 1 to 2 tablets and have them chew it so it gets into their bloodstream faster. So that is what I carry outside of my first aid kit that I still consider my first aid kit. Now the actual first aid bag, I like it to scream, I'm a first aid kit, so that if I tell someone, hey, can you go into my backpack and grab it, they're not digging around. It's very obvious. You can put yours in whatever you want. My partner likes to use a 1-gallon Ziploc bag because it's pretty much the same size. It's waterproof and he can see through it and know if and when he needs to restock anything. This fully packed weighs in at like 650 grams or 23 ounces. So first thing I like to have is rolled gauze. If you work in a hospital, you might call this Curlix. This is great. This is some of the most absorbent gauze that we have in the hospital. You can just throw this whole roll like just straight down. If someone's bleeding super heavily, you can wrap it. You can tie it off to itself. You can cut down to size if you just want to use like a little square of it. So it's super handy, multifunctional. I also carry a couple of ABD pads to add on if someone's having if someone's bleeding through that, or if I don't need to use quite that whole roll, if I want to just use something else, I've got these instead. They're super absorbent. They're like 5x9, so they're good for covering that level of space. Also multifunctional and helpful in a bleed situation. Menstrual pads and tampons, which I do carry in here as well. Tampons are great if you're having a nosebleed. Pop it right up in your nostril. Not kidding. Also in here, this is nice because it's got little packets like that, but I've got medical gloves and hand sanitizer. Sounds fairly obvious, but the hand sanitizer is also great if you want to disinfect a cut or your knife. I don't mess around with alcohol swabs. I don't bother with them. I just use the hand sanitizer instead. If someone's having a severe bleed, like a major arterial bleed, the only thing that's really going to save them is a tourniquet. So you can buy these online. They'll usually come with an instruction packet. To definitely recommend learning how and when to use these, because you could really save someone's life with this, and it's not heavy, it's tiny. It fits nicely in this bag here. This really is the only thing that's going to save someone if they're hemorrhaging. In addition, I have combat gauze here. This is just gauze that's got a clotting factor in it, so when you apply it directly to a bleed, it'll help that bleed clot off. And I will say, do not ever remove gauze to see if the bleeding has stopped. You'll pull the clot off, so just keep adding gauze on top of it. If it's bleeding through, don't pull the soaked gauze off to put clean gauze down. Just add more on top of it. It's fine. You'll cause less damage that way. Other things I have in here, ACE wrap, pretty self-explanatory. Mylar blanket, keep you warm. Triangle bandage, useful for so many different things. This one comes with little safety pins in the little packet. So many uses for, at least for these two. The Mylar blanket, we used it to help signal, so also multifunctional. You should have some sort of tape. You could use duct tape, medical tape. My personal favorite is Leukotape. My friend Kelsey turned me on to this. This is the best stuff I've ever found for preventing blisters. It's flexible. It'll stay on for days without peeling off. This stuff really is great. It's a little on the pricier side, but I think it's worth it. While we're on the subject of blisters, hydrocolloid dressing, sometimes you call this duoderm. This is like a double layer kind of plasticky dressing. It is amazing if you have a blister that's already popped. There's something on the second layer of this that turns into a gel when it hits a fluid, so it won't attach to that little baby layer of skin. So it'll help prevent pressure and friction from rubbing on that little layer of skin. It's just fantastic. It's magical. I don't even leave for a day hike without this stuff. It's incredible. I just cut it to the size that I need. I have a little piece here. And then to get the backing off, you just grab the corner, don't pull that hard, but just pull a little bit so it stretches. It'll stretch and form to whatever contour you need it to. Seriously, it's amazing stuff. Otherwise in here, I have steri strips. These are kind of like sticker stitches. So if someone's got a super deep cut, you just bring the edges together, stick this down, help close it off. I've got a good pair of tweezers. These are, I don't know, like $10 or $12 at a drugstore. They're way better than the surgical steel stainless ones that come in most kits. These are actually going to help get that tiny little sliver out of your thumb, as opposed to the other ones. various sizes of Band-Aids. I go for the name brand on these because I just find that they stick a lot better. You don't have to. I just think it's worth it. Little tub of Aquaphor. This one's kind of like half empty. You could put this into a smaller container as well. Good for small cuts, minor burns, just little things. It's just a little nice to have. That's not really an emergency. That's more of a comfort one. And then lastly, I carry a little sugar source. And these are electrolyte tablets. I get these, they're the Salt Stick Fast Chews. I like the orange flavor. I am very prone to heat exhaustion, especially in high humidity, like tropical climates. So I've had it a couple of times. When you get to that point, just straight water is gonna just make you throw up more and just feel awful. So you really do need electrolytes. You just pop a couple of these, chew them, drink some water with it. What's great about this is that it's not like dumping an electrolyte powder into your water container. Your water stays clean. If you need it for whatever else, it's not going to make your Camelback taste like lemon lime or whatever for the next couple days. I think that's pretty much everything in here. Thanks for watching. I'll have a write-up of everything that I mentioned here. So yeah, have fun, stay safe, guys.